of Indian history, India has definitely gained in terms of economy or social or politics way. And definitely because if we will compare present situation with the situation of independence, then in terms of service sector, which was at that time only 14% of service sector was contributing, today it is more than 50%, which is there in the GDP. So I would definitely say that more and more people are there which are contributing, and yes, we do have a chance that we can grow at a more pace than we are growing at present. But yes, India is growing and definitely it is growing.
65 years of Indian independence.
Anybody can speak. This GD is not one to one. Please,
The people of India, they have means their mind have expanded a lot as compared to the people, those who were there at the time of 1947. The people have become more tech savvy. We are the second largest mobile users as overall in whole world.
I agree we must be second largest user of mobile, but still in our country 650 million people are still illiterate. So we need to really grow in that area also. And 260 million people are below the poverty line still in India, even after 65 years of independence.
Our pace must be slow, but we are certainly growing towards success. There were just 19 universities at the time of independence. Today there are 219 universities all across the India, and even the literacy rate has been rising. Has risen to 60% now.
Also, I counter that the literacy rate is just 40%, 40 to 45%. It is not 60%.
With respect to everyone, the points have been made regarding technology and the economic scenario of the country. I believe the core thing is the democratic principles our constitution makers lay upon, the stress they laid upon. So it's the people that make the country, and we should focus more on whether the people are happy, because the economic state and the technology state that comes after. I believe India has gained a lot just because of the way it tackles the way the freedom of speech, the expression, all has been just bestowed on the people, and they're still using it. So I believe the democratic principles.
Another point I'd like to highlight is the social, India has overcome many social blunders, like the zamindari system, like the prostitution and the untouchability. All these were very much prevalent.
I want to counter that. You said we have gained a lot in that, but still, I think the crime rate has increased. It has not decreased over the years. Today also we open the news channel and crime rates are very high.
I think another important point to add to it is that in the democracy of India, the most important thing would be that the growth would be all inclusive. So I think that if we still need 50% reservation for the lower caste and the scheduled caste, then it has never been all inclusive. All the policymakers of our constitution also believe that I think 15 to 20 years would be required to make it through. But if after 65 years we still need that kind of reservations.
I believe reservation is not a way that you try to take it into parallelism, that it's very important for the growth of the country. Of course, for a certain time period,
the point I wanted to make is that the growth has never been all inclusive. I just put up a point that 10% of the people are contributing around 75% of our GDP, and the people who are educated are still getting the same kind of
agree with your point, but the point you are making regarding trying to draw parallelism between economy and reservation, I don't think it's a valid point.
I just wanted to put across the point that if we still need reservations for the growth of the country to include all the people, then
I would like to say that as you have said that reservations are there, and yes, it should be there, and I strongly support the way the implementation may be another method, means we can implement it in another way. As CS said that we do have still 600 million people who are starving there, 350 million people who are not literate. So as you are talking about inclusive growth, so inclusive growth means we will have to take those people with us. And yes, they do not have as background as we have. We do not know about the things. So we need to take care of them. The implementation method should be can be different. The method which we are using at present, that may be different from the we are using at this time. But yes, we should have to take care of them, and for that we will have to give them some kind of benefits, like so that they can compete at the same level as we are.
I guess
Otherwise,
a very important point regarding is the unity in diversity. India is a very diverse country. To take everyone on board and trying to get into issues like we see every day in the parliament as well, to take everybody on board to get a consensus is a very difficult thing in a country the diverse as such.
For
But
time being,
I
at
would
least
like to tell one thing, that this is making the country a skill-fearing country. Like the FDI was proposed, people are not feared because they will bring in investment or the foreign companies are going to participate. It is just the thing that we are a skill-fearing community. We can't compete with skilled people, and the main problem of India is skill development. Even a farmer is happy with his slow life in a very nice small farms, small income. They do not want to progress. Then how can they progress? The
Well,
government
I
cannot
would
help
like
them.
to counteract this. This is not like the farmers do not want to grow, but the corruption and the process which they follow between the growing, like if a small person go to any big company to take loan and any kind of insurance, he has to pass so many
I would like
process,
to
and the
tell you-
corruption is the main problem, because of which the lowest rate is not actually able to go.
as you
Yes,
said,
there are
as you said
setbacks.
that the farmers do not want to grow. I think your statement is somewhat beyond that. Means they do not want to grow is another thing, and they don't know how to grow. That is another thing. We need to take care of things. We need to teach them how to grow. They don't know how to grow.
That is why we
They don't know
need
the technology. They don't know the process. You have said they do not want to grow. That's not a point. I think every one of us, 160 million people, 110 billion people, everyone wants to grow, and that's why we are growing at every phase, every sector.
Yes, and with the green revolution that was started, we have actually grown a little bit in terms of agriculture, but it's just been 65 years. We need some more time to grow, and we will achieve the target that we have. We have started using high quality fertilizers and seeds and irrigation facilities that the farmers in Punjab, we take for example Punjab, which is the food basket of the country. Also, we are the largest producer of fresh fruits, cotton, chilies, pepper, and the second largest in the world in wheat, rice, sugarcane, etc. This is according to the Food Survey of India, Statistical Survey of India.
But the country, the farmers are not going to want to.
They want to. It's not that they don't want to. They have,
As
and they
you
will.
said,
They are.
as you said, they do not know the method, they do not know the technology. It's not that they do not want to. They are not opposing FDI because they do not want it. They are opposing FDI because they do not want. They do not know how this is going to affect them to boost their sector, to boost their level. They do not know this thing. Whatever we feed them, they take it as input. They do not know how it is going to affect them. They do not have their own analysis. They are running by our analysis.
I would like to counter that the retailer community is fearing the FDI, not the farmers, because they are unskilled and they do not know what is customer service. You will still find clumsy shops, dirty shops.
I think we are just straying away from the topic.
yeah.
If we are just straying away from the topic, we should.
I think we should just compare India as it was in 1947 to what it is in 2012. So as far as like economy is concerned, I think we have grown in terms of service sector and technology sector, which is very important because these sectors are highly export intensive, and we can cut the deficit by improving these sectors. Also, using these sectors, we can stop the brain drain that was happening in the 70s and the 80s, that educated people were going to the US and the UK and Europe and other countries. So I think that is another important point, that we are now the deficit is at an all-time low in terms of percentage. So I think that is one important.
Credit should be given to the way that Indian economy dealt with the double dip recession that came in the year 2008. We just the way Europe and now the Eurozone crisis has come in, still the core banking fundamentals of India are very good. Recently the banking bill was passed, and I guess all these kind of measures will continue to just strengthen the fundamentals of Indian
I would
economy.
also like to tell that yes, we have been late bloomers. India has started developing around after 1985. Before there was meager development. So we have faced the first 35 years of our independence. But yes, now we are there to march forward.
I think it is
and
important
with
to
a
add.
huge population which is so much diverted towards education. Every person wants an educated person in their family, and this will help the economy.
Yeah, I think I would like to add that India has been fence setters for like 65 years. We allowed the license Raj to continue till 1990. So we have like we are not allowing FDI. Just now the bill has been passed, and the other countries have done it like 6-7 years ago. So we like to sit on the fence and study the whole analysis of the world and then take steps.
I guess just pointing it at FDI and trying to relate it to the topic is we are just straying away from the topic. The topic is 65 was India, has India gained or lost? Trying to just get FDI into the fray and trying to compare it the way, just trying to just take it as one parameter is not correct.
We have not been fence sitters. We have actually developed in the field of software, nuclear energy, and atomic energy, and stuff like that. So we've not been fence sitters. We have had some achievements, not that much that we could have, but we have had achievements and which are appreciable.
And also it was not possible for India to be a capitalist country in 1947, where the capitalist countries were going bankrupt and they were in need of money, where there was the example of USSR, which had become industrialized after the Russian Revolution of 1917. In 1945, it was one of the largest industrial economies in the world. So it was an obvious decision for India to become a socialist country at that point of time, and I think it provided a firm foundation for the country that it opened up in 1991, and the growth was, I think, all inclusive, and a capitalist approach at that time would not have been feasible.
If we compare India with the
Last
other
1 minute.
if we compare India with the other developing countries, then we will came into view that it is not as much as it could. The growth of China, which is underdeveloping country, has so much in these years. So the main cause of this is also. I'd like to take your point forward that at the time of Indian independence, the economy of China was far below that of India, and as of now, China is way beyond India, and that too with an excessive population than of India.
I would like
So
to
certainly
conclude
India would have done much more.
That yes, we have lost the plot in the first 30 years of our independence. We have waken up around 1989 to 1991, but now we can develop. So it should not be 65 years of independence, because in 30 years of independence, India was a loser. But these 25 to 30 years, India has become a winner, and surely it will be one of the most powerful economies in the next 10 years.
To support this point, at the last, I could conclude that we all discussed different aspects of what were the points, does India grew or not, but the first and last point is that we have to compare the condition of India from 1947 to 2012 today. We have seen that India has grown in all aspects, whether it's technology, like our BPOs are growing at the rate of 37%. Our information technology is growing at 33%. Our GDP at the time of 1950 was 93.5 million, and around 2006 it is 4,10,006, which has been growing throughout. And we are all electricity is available in every small